Well, everyone, welcome back. We're doing another. I can call this a podcast at this point, right? Like we're basically just a
Yeah.
podcast. It was originally supposed to be a shorter video, and then Myth and I started talking, and all of a sudden, like the tape was at an hour and a half, and yeah, so now it's a podcast. So this will probably be an hour and a half as well. We've got CaptainDolphin joining me. Hello, nice to officially
Hi.
meet you. This is the first time we're like
I'm
actually
super
talking.
excited to be on here. Yeah.
Yeah,
This is great.
big face reveal moment. So yeah,
Yeah.
you
Hello,
want to
everybody.
give a brief intro and say who you are to the scene?
Yeah, I'm the number one Monkey Moon fan, I think.
Yep, pretty close.
And the number one First Killer fan, I think. I went to Dallas 2022 Worlds. That was my first and only land, but I will be going to Raleigh. So
That's hype.
if you see me there, come say hi or something, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've been watching Rocket League since 2020, late 2020. Around like winter split of RLCS, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
And I've been playing Rocket League since 2017, maybe.
Okay.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
I'm not very good. That's okay. That's most of us, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. I always take the mantra of like, there's only 3 good players in Rocket League. Like everyone else is bad. Like even all the pro players, like there's only 3 players who are actually good at the game, which I feel like that's been expanded a little bit since I started saying that maybe a few years ago.
Yeah.
But I see you also took the route of like starting to play the game and then like not knowing about the esport until like several years afterwards, and then getting super into it.
Psyonix should really push it more. Like people are always saying like, a really big thing inside the game, or like I mean they have like a live button, but I feel like it's pretty weak. And the esports shop is like you kind of have to dig for it,
Exactly. I found out about it like right before the esports shop, but the way I found out about it was just, I think it was like Cloud9's lower bracket run just popping into my recommended one day. And I was like, I wonder what this is. And I got bored and then rabbit trained for 5 years. Here we go.
Right. Yeah.
But
wow, 5 years. Yeah.
Yeah. I've wanted to represent Raleigh. I was very excited to see that's where the majors could be hosted. I lived in Durham, North Carolina for 10 years, which is like right next to Raleigh.
Yeah.
I'm very bummed that I'm not able to go. I'm getting married literally later that week. And so definitely can't pull that off under any stretch of the imagination. I kept making jokes about how, I want a Chicagoland because that's like the most doable, but I don't want it this, second major because then I wouldn't be able to go. And it's like, oh, please don't be Chicago. Please don't be Chicago. I mean, Worlds.
Could you make Worlds if it was Worlds? Oh, is that that's not confirmed though?
But like,
okay, I'm excited for Paris. I really want it to be Paris. For the love of the esport, it's got to be there. It's got to be Paris.
Yeah, every rumor is pointing towards Paris. The Fortnite officially had a rumor that it's going to be in Paris, so most likely going to happen. But I was sitting here like, please don't make it Chicago for the second major. Please don't make it Chicago. And then I see the announcement on Saturday. I'm like, oh, Raleigh, that's super hype. Dang, that's actually super doable if it wasn't that weekend. So, yeah, little unfortunate. But I will be watching from home. I will also be representing by wearing a bunch of my North Carolina hats that I got up there. I got Durham Bulls, I got Duke, I got UNC. So I'll be wearing those throughout the next, several months to represent. But right now I'm on the Ohio State victory lap. But that being said, if we want to hop into it, we've got a few honorable mentions, and then we'll start rolling through the top 20. So I'll go ahead and unveil. We're going to unveil all 3 of these. There's only 3 of them. But the honorable mentions that CaptainDolphin has, we got. So go for it.
So I've got my notable omission is deleted gaming. I think that was an all-time legendary Mickey run, up there with NRG at 2021, 2022 Worlds for making top 8. I think, they you beat Omelet. Okay, good job, bro. Like that's I think if you give Gen G that bracket, they make top 6. I think if you give, I don't know. I think if you give Shopify that bracket, they make top 6 too.
Dang, that's a
that
call.
might be a hot take. Because they didn't look amazing this weekend, but
like I see what you're saying. Yeah.
As you can tell, I still have faith. Shopify was my number. Let me look.
Oh yeah, we can go back into the preseason. The
13. So I had Shopify 13, which was obviously now it looks a little stupid, but that's okay. That's how preseason things work.
Exactly.
We didn't know. My vision was that they would be the 3rd seed for NA, and that was not right, at least. currently.
At least, yeah.
But I wanted to let them be on my honorable mentions and say, I haven't completely forgotten about you guys. I didn't want to cut them, like drop from 13 to off the list. So I want to let them be on there. And then Godfidence, I think they did about as expected for Sam. Top 4, a pretty standard run, and then they, lost to Secret really, really bad. But that's, Secret and Fury are on their own tier and they're close, and that makes sense. But I had them on my top. They probably shouldn't have been my top 20, to be honest, the first time, but they were, and so they're -5 for me. So they were 16, I think, and now they're 21.
Yeah, I think it's kind of tough with Sam 3 because I feel like Sam is a deep enough region that we should be seeing.
Oh, this is Sam. I have them as Sam 4.
You have them as Sam 4. Okay, a little bit of
I
spoilers.
do
That's
have
on
them
me.
as Sam 4.
But
yeah. No, all good, all good.
I feel like it's normally I would have a lot more Sam teams in my top 20. If we go back and look at like my last year's rankings, I had like Secret and Ninja Pajamas both in the top 15 by the end of it. And
that was deserving. I think they were deserving.
Exactly. But I think they just consolidated talent so much that like there is really those top 2 teams, and then at least based on what I remember, like Godfin's got like 4-0'd by Secret or something.
Yeah, they did get 4-0'd. It was 4-0, and Novus was 4-1'd by Furia.
Yeah, so it's very top heavy with the top 2 in South America right now, and I want to see more teams kind of put themselves in that, but it's very difficult to. I wonder if I know the Sam 3 then, but we'll get to that. And then
I think you could guess it, but
I could guess it.
You go with yours.
Yeah, I'll touch on deleted because I don't have them on my list as well. Very Mickey run. I had Omelet at 16th. I'll go ahead and spoil that they're not on my list anymore because you can't be doing that. But yeah, I'll unveil my honorable mentions.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Those 2 were not even on my mind. Strictly Business is the only points that you give them are they did good in Swiss and they beat NRG, right?
Yeah. So I wanted to have Strictly Business on here because they destroyed us, for that matter.
Sure.
They beat NRG. They had a really good Swiss run, and then they got grouped into that impossible group to get out of. I think they probably just have a playstyle diff against Gen G. Haven't seen the matches, but getting swept 3-0 twice after taking SSG to 5, beating them 3-0, and beating NRG feels like that's probably just a matchup thing. And so
yeah, that was the whole group was just so unfortunately deleted.
Yes, that was
have those. I mean, it's crazy to have with hindsight the first place and second place teams play in upper semi.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. And like that's NRG's only loss during the top 16, and so that says a lot. Like they had to run that whole lower bracket because they ran into the other team that made finals. But wanted to throw Strictly Business on here just because, like, yeah, they got that impossible run. They impressed me during Swiss. I didn't have them on my preseason rankings, and it says a lot that I can't put them in the top 20 just because they just barely got squeezed out. I think they are my 21st, but wanted to give them a shout because they definitely earned my respect despite the last place finish if you look at it from the top 16 angle. And then Redemption.
That's true.
I wanted to give a shout out because Cash is going through it right now. I don't know if you've seen Cash's Twitter. He's looked like he was sick potentially for the regional. He's fighting some demons right now. He's saying he's going to be fine. He's going to pull through. But I had a lot of hope for Redemption this season. I don't think they're as bad as an 0-6 in the regional performance. So I unfortunately had to drop them out of the top 20 based on results, but I don't think the story is over for them. So wanted to give them that honorable mention shout out. So
I had heard a little of the Cash story, but I wasn't going to use that as points enough for them to be on my list.
That's valid. All right. I'm going to take a brief pause.
Not only 0-2, but 0-6 is rough. I guess the copium is Ascend, you win that, and then RRG is maybe a coin flip, and then that's top 8.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I think Ascend actually, I should go back and watch some more of those matches because I know if you listen to Belair's podcast, he did a 2-hour episode with Michael from Shiftcast, and apparently Michael and Will really believe in this Nico kid. And then I didn't know this, but I picked him up on my fantasy team because he was the only one in Europe for that price point that wasn't on the same team as another player, and I wanted to have all teams on different players. He was my best performer, so apparently this Nico kid actually might be pretty good, and we'll keep an eye on Ascend. But I've heard
the truth.
The Nico FC club might be like actually in business this year, so we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this European regional had so many new random. I mean, I guess that's just how European regionals always are, huh?
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
Random people that you haven't seen before, and then maybe they stick around or maybe they don't. It's hard to say early.
Rust Easy 95.
Yeah.
Yep. Also, not to call them out completely, but they did talk about how like the districts thing with Alpha 54 and Chassat 45, it's like their French district is like the numbers in their name. And they were like, I wonder if Rust Easy is in the 95th district of France. And it's like, nope, that's a Cars reference. That's a Cars reference, guys.
Okay. Yeah.
So, yep. Unfortunately, we're not cultured in Pixar enough to know that. But yeah, I thought that part of the bit was funny. But that being said, honorable mentions. Scroll down. Don't get to see them anymore. Let's roll into the top.
Do you want to do our myth honorable mentions now or later?
Let's unveil the myth honorable mentions. Because he's got his list in here. Oh, I shouldn't click on that. That was probably spoilers. Who does Myth have honorably mentioned? Synergy, Save the Date, Start Point, and shout out his parents. So very curious how his parents are going to be in the 24th spot of the RLCS. I'm looking forward to seeing that this weekend. But
I respect the vision.
Yeah,
personally.
Synergy, I can see this as well because I do think they got a very difficult bracket with 100% being a lot better than I thought. Save the Game and Start Point. One of those guys went out last, right? Like they face each other in lowers.
Yeah, Start Point was last. I'm looking at it right now. They were out to 3-2. So
I remember I predicted an EU for Start Point to beat Save the Game, and I hadn't checked the Swiss results. And someone in the comments was like, yo, Save the Game swept Start Point in Swiss or something like that. And I was like, oh, I just exposed myself as not a ball knower. And then lo and behold, in the regional, it was the same thing. So when I did North America predictions, I'm like, I need to make sure I know which are the rematches. But
your sheet that has everything in it has been a nice tool.
Oh yeah,
keep track of.
I'll link this in the description as well. I've been told this is a terrible spreadsheet, and I've tried to cook up different ways that I could do it, but I'm not liking them so far. So, but yeah, I've got every single series in the top 32 played for any team that we have ranked and any team under like a certain barrier. So like any top 8 teams from North America or Europe, top 6 teams from SAM, top 4 from MENA, top 2 from OCE. Right. So it just keeps track of all the results, who's played who's won each match, records, etc. So hopefully it's a good tool for keeping track of, how teams are doing in the rankings. And it's just, cool to follow along throughout the season. So,
right. Yeah. I feel like it's a very classic Myth to have a full all three of your honorable mentions are all EU teams, but
classic. Yeah.
It's cool.
The EU bias is here.
Right. I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's really hard to be NA biased nowadays because we're but we haven't like won Worlds in 5 years. So I wait. 6 years. So, No,
it was December. It's still 5 years. It was December of 2019.
Okay.
But, I mean, at the top, I think the whole debate with that is like at the top, I feel like Europe has always kind of had that edge, like with the number 1 team. But like in Dallas, in my opinion, like the best teams were from North America. It's just the best team singular was BDS. So,
yeah. That's.
But we gotta get rolling with these rankings because we could probably waffle about stuff forever.
How long was that already?
I think
show you.
Yeah, it shows the recording at 15 minutes. That's probably not how long it's been.
Yeah, we should get to work. Yeah.
I'm gonna edit some stuff out, and we did the whole start thing before we actually started. But number 20, let's reveal.
I'm curious.
TSM and Gen G Mobile 1 Racing. Okay, I'm gonna fix the border because it will bother me.
You can go first, or you want me to go first?
You go for it.
Okay. I had Gen G at 20th, and I think, a little unfortunate to have lost that game 7 the way that they did to 9 lives, to be honest. But I think they're probably. I think that was pretty expected. The whole desk went 4-0 for Gen G. I thought that was crazy. We've all discussed this. That was weird. Chat was 70%. I made a whole pile of points on that because I was like, this is a 50-50, and if I can make back 2-1, that's great.
Oh yeah.
Or 3-1, I think it was. So, I don't know. I think 8th to 6th is probably where they were always going to be. I was really confused when I saw them. The pros rated them 4th, and I was just like,
They
I don't see
did.
the vision. I don't see the vision there.
They did?
Oh,
I
the
completely
pros
missed
did.
that.
The pros had them 4th. It was the pros had NRG at like 1.25,
Yeah.
Ultimates 1.75, Complexity at
Yep.
like 2 point something, and then Gen G was like
Gen G.
3 point something. And I was,
Wow.
I don't know. I thought that was too high, but I think, somewhere around 5 to 6 NA deserves to be on a top 20 list.
Exactly,
And
yeah.
they didn't bomb too bad like Shopify, so they can hold their spot at 20th.
All right, that's valid. I got TSM at 20. Had to drop them down 5 spots. These guys dominated the off season, but when it came tournament time, they've had not the best performances. They've lost multiple times to Chiefs, so they're very clearly an OCE 3, barely hanging on to this top 20 list. But I got called out a decent amount for not having more OCE teams in the top 20, and honestly, that's fair considering that the expected OCE 3 based on preseason results is, deserves to be higher than they were. So TSM still hanging on. Hopefully they can bounce back this next regional. Otherwise, they're on really thin ice when it comes to this ranking. So,
right. Yeah. 20th is not the place you want to be.
Exactly.
Spoiler, they were my 19th last time and I've cut them. So
Okay. Yep. I mean that tracks with, how they perform compared to how you would have thought of them preseason.
Yeah, I thought they were for sure a lock for number 2. And now that they're not number 2, they don't get to be here.
Yep.
So
all right.
We can go to 19 because
let's roll into 19.
Rolls right into it for me, at least. I don't know about you.
I've spoiled it. Oh, there you go.
Amazing. Okay.
I'll let you go.
So
we're just talking OCE.
I don't know how you did the pluses for teams that you didn't have on the original. I assume that every team that you didn't have on the top 20 is 21st or 22nd if you have. I had an honorable mention. So,
I wrote new.
Okay.
That works. Yeah.
Chiefs has moved into where TSM was. I had TSM at 19th. Chiefs is now number 2 OCE. My opinion of OCE has not changed, so therefore, that's not moving very much. And they looked good. Raziers is right at home in OCE. I don't know if you've seen any of the clips that were on Reddit.
I went through a couple of them.
He had an unbelievable, spectacular own goal. Yep. It was like a tight angle, like double tap.
Yeah.
On its own net. He's
fitting right in.
So OCE. So yeah. I think CJ screams, "Wow, this is where he's meant to play," or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah. Chiefs. I don't know that there's too much more to say. I didn't actually watch the regional because it was at 3 a.m. East Coast time. So
that's valid. Yeah. It does, like, there's only so much Rocket League you can watch, right? You try to get as much of it as possible, but like at the end of the day, if we were to watch each of these teams in depth, we wouldn't have any time for anything. So it is a little bit based on like where we think they're going to fall as well. I think that's a respectable, train of thought to get Chiefs into this position. But I'll go ahead and jump to Gen G because you have them 20th, I have them 19th. Their Swiss run was very impressive. Like they took care of business.
That was great. That was the highlight.
That's number 1. Yeah. And then they get thrown into the group of death, lose the first match to NRG, lose to NRG again, get top 8. Yes, it's a little disappointing they lost to 9 Lives, but I also think 9 Lives is a respectable team. They shouldn't have been favored by as much as they were. I know you touched on that. That was not as much of an upset as many people were making it out to be, but here we are. I guess I have them going up 1, and yeah, I don't see this team moving all that much. I think they're going to be pretty consistent this year, but like just barely hanging on here.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see them at this first major. 8th is a really tough spot to be, just in general. But especially when you're a team like that, where I don't really see them having that pop off. If you switch SSG and Gen G in the bracket, like if you give them that upper bracket, does Gen G do what SSG did? No way, right? So
absolutely not. Yeah. Move that back.
Of course, I would trust you to say that, but I'm unbiased, so.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
All right.
Genji, we'll see how they pan out, but I don't see them at not at LAN, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the consensus.
I think they're on the outside looking in for that. But number 18, 9 lives. Here's your Sam 3. Go for it.
Yep. I'm a huge Royales fan. He's a good guy. You know, he's really active on Reddit. I think that's cool. And I had Godfidence as my Sam 3 on the list last time. I put them now in my honorable mentions, so I had space for one more. I generally, with my list, I keep most of the regions very similar. So for my top 8, top 8 has always been 4 EU, 2 NA, Mina, Sam. It's been like that. Worlds was like that. Copenhagen was like that. We've had so many lands where it's been basically we've had that as our top. So I have my top 8 as that split, basically until I'm proven that that's not how it is.
Yeah.
And generally, I'm looking at my list and I'm thinking, I think 3 to 4 Sam teams is about fair. 2 OCE teams is about fair. You know, I'm not going to say how many EU teams are on here or NA. I think I don't want to give away too much, but
it's
generally
a little for that, yeah.
So with the point is, Novus put up a top 4. I think they were unexpected to do that. I think that was an upset against LF Org. I would have said that was an upset, but that was a good upset. It was a good win from them. I was watching their Swiss run, or not their Swiss run, their bracket matches, and I watched Novus versus Sunrise. That was good. Good series. They did get very fortunate with a forfeit.
They did.
I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, they it was Umberto, which I think is signed now.
Yeah, I think they are.
Are they Corinthians?
Let me go look.
I should have
check
it on here, but
yeah, I think that's all there is to say. You know, the top 2 Sam teams are so defined, and so on their own tier. But otherwise, you know, everybody else is just kind of playing catching up, which is to be expected.
Yeah.
And they're on, Corinthian Esports. Yep.
All right.
LF Org, still LF Org. So sad.
Wait, who's on LF Org again?
Knight, Wisty, and Leo.
Okay, I think they did get signed. I'm blanking on by who, but I saw something on Twitter today that they were signed. So.
Oh, Blazer.
Yes.
Blazer acquires LF Org.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
So.
Cool. Chile Org.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Solid.
No, didn't know that. Cool.
So, yeah, that was like either today or yesterday. So very recent news on that front. That might spoil. We're recording this on Tuesday, so it doesn't come out until Saturdays, but we roll.
Yep.
9 lives, 1 spot above Gen G. Makes sense given how that series went. Have them 0 movement, which actually kind of surprised myself. I want to see these guys continue to do well. I hope they get signed because they're in a top 4 position right now. I think they could continue getting there. I don't have them ranked as a top 4 team in North America. I won't say where I have them ranked in NA, but I don't have them as one of the top 4 ranked, which you could probably have figured out based on how this weekend went. But I think they're a very solid option. They're definitely on this list. Have the potential to move up, and I'm looking for a little bit more from them. I don't want it to be go for hero ball all the time. When they're passing and like clicking, it's super fun to watch. Like towards the end of that Gen G series,
all their series were like
great,
super entertaining this weekend. That's for sure.
So, obviously, I have some bias. I like the 2 guys on that team that used to play for us, but can't really move them up or down this weekend, to be honest. So,
I have them higher than you.
All right.
I'm into it. I understand the vision. I'll explain it more when they come up.
Okay.
In a couple spots.
All right.
They're not too far up.
Not too far up. Well, they're not 17. Let's roll 17. I'm curious if we get any in the same spot because 17 was.
This one is a hot take from me. We'll see if this is agreed with.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have 100% here. They had a good run, but when I'm looking at the EU teams that I have above them, I don't think that they win if you do it again.
Okay.
I think Acro of course, we all saw that amazing weekend from him. His best weekend of all time. And Rezi is not a top four staple, but he's now had 4 top fours with 4 different teams, which is pretty cool. He did it with Moist, he did it with Jobless, he did it with this team and Hogan Mode. So 4 top fours, I respect that for a guy like that. Like not really a upper level mainstay yet or anything, but
yeah.
I just really don't see, if we do that regional again, I think they're at 8th. And that's around where I have them in the EU is
all right,
like 7th-ish question mark. And I've always been of the mindset, T-Bates always says this actually, which isn't a great look, but he always says that Rocket League doesn't change that much week to week, and there's so much recency bias, which I really, really agree with. I don't think teams are jumping up 10, 15 spots on rankings just off one weekend. And I need to see it again. You got to show me again that you can do that, and I don't think. I don't know. I'm just curious about Dignitas and Geeky, right? Those are the question marks in EU. How those teams would do again, but 100%. You might have them 8 spots higher than me. I don't know. You could have them in like just outside the top 10, and I think that would be fair. But I think I think next regional we'll see them at 7th, 8th.
All right. Yeah. I think I agree that their top 4 performance is probably overperforming a little bit. Surprised. I mean, they should definitely be on here based on results.
100%.
Yeah, I caught that. But yeah, I am a little bit surprised that they're this low. I do agree that the question marks are Dig and Geeky. And I think I remember how I had these teams ordered, but we will get to that. I don't know why I hit the 5 button. But yeah, I've got Chiefs up here at 17. Definitely impressive results from them to start swinging up a little bit more, earn their way into the top 20. That does mean I do have 3 OCE teams here at the top 20, which might be a bit of a hot take compared to, I know there's a lot of eyes on Mita and Sam, but I do think the top 3 in OCE is pretty strong this year. So
you have 3 OCE, and I've got 3 Sam, so I think that's where there are differences in like regionally.
Probably, yeah. All right. I think I covered my OCE point.
Yeah.
I'm good to jump to 16 if you are.
Yeah.
All right, let's roll it.
This is another questionable pick for me, but
okay. This is where things are gonna get fun.
Yeah. So I put Geeky above 100%, which some people are probably would be like upset about, but I have them close. The series wasn't close. What was the score? Do you remember? I'll look.
Geeky 100%. I think that was a 3-2. I think it was a game 5. Let's go to the team series tracker.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. So I think that could have gone the other way, and then they don't get NIP. They get RRG. I think it was an underperformance from Geeky for sure to have lost that, but I'm not. Getting 8th when your true ranking is somewhere around 6th is not the craziest thing ever.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm interested. It's interesting to see that you have Dig above them.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
Yeah. I'll jump into Dignitas. This is I think these 3 that we've talked about in Europe so far, Dignitas, Geeky, and 100%, they were very difficult to rank in an order for me because based on head-to-head and performances, 100% should be above both Dignitas and Geeky, right? But I also see the arguments where it's like that Geeky 100% series, it's technically for seeding. Like, you're going to be put in the same part of the bracket, just depends on who you get matched up with. Now, that city became very important because it means dodging ninjas in pajamas, which 100% was able to do. And then the Dignitas matchup, I think it was a Game 7 overtime. I know it was a Game 7, but
I'm looking.
Much more for
no overtime, but it was 1 goal game.
Okay, yeah, it was alive at the end of the game, but yeah, I have Dignitas as the lowest mainly because a lot of it is based on merit in like what these players have done before as well, right? Because I assume part of the reason why you still have Geeky above 100% is because we've seen Joyo Oli, Archie. We've seen them on land. We've seen them show up on the biggest stages. Like, this is still a one-off from like most of the players from 100%. Yes, Rezzy's made his top fours, but this is like the first time for Acro and Luis P on the main stage. So you don't want to like jump the gun on them too much and rank them above players that are established.
I'm still giving Geekay the nod as 2/3 of the Oxygen team that was top 6. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, you did lose Oski, which sucks, and he's gone on to greener things, clearly better things, but greener pastures, but
lime green pastures, if you will.
Right. Yeah. But you know, Archie's Worlds was really, really good.
Yeah.
And Joyo was good. I wouldn't say he was amazing. I would have said Archie and Oski were close as my 1 and 2, and it's hard to say. But the point is that that's, you know, 3 name brand players.
Yeah.
And they'll probably be top 6 next time. Mm-hmm. Fingers crossed for them. But
all right, yeah. And then I guess the logic with me having Dignitas lower than these two, spoiler, yes, these two are still on my rankings. They didn't beat anyone. Like, their run was, if we look at it,
I agree.
Their run was just,
that's true,
absolutely no one. I mean, what's your best win? Fast Forward that didn't make the event? I can't even say that. It's probably RRG who made top 8. And then you lost to Vitality, you lost to K-Corp, and then you lost to 100%. It's like, yes, the name brand Appjack and the name brand Jorias gets you a decent amount, but, I mean, you didn't do anything. Every series that you had a good opponent in, you kind of folded. And not only that, you almost folded against Novo and you almost folded against RRG. So I'm really worried for this Dignitas
That
squad.
Novo game 5 was actually a telltale sign, and maybe should have picked up more on that.
Yeah.
That's fair. I understand that.
So there's some
I don't know where the stat was. I saw it somewhere, but it was, I think that was Jorius's like 11th quarterfinals loss.
Yeah. It's insane.
Straight.
It's insane.
And his last win was like 2022 or something.
That's
or maybe winter 2023.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
that
seriously, years and years. Because all of M80, they lost all 5 of their quarterfinals.
Yep.
He lost 1 at EWC with Chiefs, and then now he's lost 2.
Yeah.
So that's at least 8. And then he probably had a couple at the end of Dignitas, or at the end of Oxygen. So,
yeah.
I don't know. I don't remember the number, but it was like an unbelievable number, like a crazy record.
Yeah. It's tough to be.
That's something to think about. You know, is Dignitas truly a top 6, or are they like, and will they ever be top 4? Like, do they have the capability to win a match? I don't know, but I have faith. Maybe it's misplaced, but I like Stizzy.
Stizzy, I think, he had some question marks this weekend. Like, there were definitely some moments true. That I'm gonna say this week, just to refer to like whatever's happened the past 3 weeks. Like,
right.
I'll refer to the ranking show that I did with Myth as last week. So just so there's no confusion, because like, it's
saying 2.5 weeks ago doesn't quite
exactly. Yeah. So
yeah.
All right, let's roll to 15 because I feel like we'll have some of the same talking points. Okay.
Yep. 2 teams that the other person has already had. I know that I'm gonna get some hate for this, putting NA like number 4 above a team that did top 4 in EU. But here's the thing: is that I believe that 9 Lives was more closer to their true rating.
Yeah.
I think that they are 5th. I have them 5th, and I think that they should be top 6 in the next 2 regionals. Like I next weekend or next regional, we'll see them.
Next weekend,
I think that they'll be top 6.
Yeah.
Next weekend we'll see them, and I think they'll be top 6. And I'm also it's actually terrible that this is a new team for me. So here's the thought process was, you know, you lose LJ.
Yeah.
And when I'm watching them at Worlds, I'm thinking, this is, you know, what is this team without LJ? So that was what my head was. I was like, who is Kofor? What can he do? But he's now had an insane weekend. That was a star making, not quite like star making, but you know, he had a lot of goals. He was doing a lot of work.
He announced himself.
I understand. That was a good pickup from them, clearly. And I don't know. I'm impressed. I'm happy. I'm happy with them. Like,
Yeah.
I think I had a lot of channel points on them, so it was pretty cool that they won both of their 2 games that I had them.
Yeah. I've got
And
a lot of respect for Chicago, especially after Worlds.
right,
I think like that Furious series in particular, he was the driving force and like the only reason we were actually in it by the end of it.
that game 6 pinch.
Yep. Crucial.
Um, yep,
Crucial.
definitely. So, I'm giving 9 Lives respect over 100% again because that was another top 8 roster at Worlds, and
Yeah.
still, lands are just the most important thing in Rocket League, and I'm not going to give a team that did something in an online regional a free pass to top 15. I mean, you could. It's fair too, but I don't. So
yeah, I'm officially declaring the post-event 1 rankings is overreaction rankings because this is everything beforehand was based on paper, and now we've actually got some results. Normally what I find is that my post-event 1 is always like the most jumpy, and then it jumps right back as results, kind of equalize. So
yeah, I think mine are not that jumpy because I did move 100% up too far, and I
Yeah.
think EU was pretty boring.
yeah,
Overall, like every result was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I've done my best to avoid the overreactions, but don't be surprised when like not only our lists but like other lists around the scene adjust where it's like, okay, now we have 2 data points. How good actually are these teams? So,
Right.
I got to talk about GK a little bit because I've dropped
Yeah.
them 6 spots to number 15.
Ouch.
You
had them? Did you have them 9th?
I had them 9th. That was a downfall, and like
Okay.
I considered having them at 16 with Dignitas above them. The reason I didn't is because, I mean, these guys, I don't think they picked up many quality wins. Actually, they definitely didn't. But I do think they just...
These two are in the same boat, right?
Yes, exactly.
They're just losing, no one beats Gentlemates, no one beats Nib, no one beats Vitality, no one beats Carmine Corp except for each other. And then, everybody else is just kind of losing all their lives to these teams. So
Exactly, yeah.
What's there to do?
I guess if you want to view it this way, like I had GK above Dignitas at the start, and they basically had the same weekend. So yeah, it maybe not.
Yeah,
in
they
terms
both had
of
2 wins
where
in
they finished.
bracket, and then they lost in 2 wins in the what's it called, GSL?
Yeah, the GSL.
And then
GSL
they
groups.
lost right into playoffs. So
yeah, I think
pretty similar weekends from them.
I think if you interchange
A little
where they
disappointing,
are,
right?
like if you were to switch where Dignitas and GK were in the bracket, I think you see them both go through the same results. Like I don't think you
GK
give
gets
them
smashed
each
by
pass.
Carmine Corp.
Yeah,
and then GK. I mean, they already lost 100%, so we can't say yeah they would have won that.
exactly. Yeah, I mean they both have losses to 100%.
Dignitas definitely is smashed by Nips. So
yeah,
yeah,
that's where I got them.
Yeah. Good take.
Moving to 14. I've got 100%. You've got Dignitas.
Yep.
So
we've got the mid 3 in EU, outside of the top 4 in reverse order.
Yeah. Oh, we do.
I don't know. Maybe I just have the vision of Dignitas doing something sometime. Like I don't know. Like I just feel like they will. It's clearly it was a little misplaced, but
yeah,
it's just my opinion. At the end of the day, it's just my opinion. It's like 2 spots. Like I don't know.
Yeah, I think you could take the perspective of like, you can only beat who's in front of you, right? At least for the Swiss stage part of it, because there is, credence to
What
the
did
fact that
Dignitas do in Swiss? Let me look.
They went 3-0, and they actually were basically dominating. But they also, I don't think they beat a single team that made the main event because Glifty Mode got reverse swept out of the Swiss. Fast Forward, in historic fashion, collapsed. And just chilling, like that's a first round matchup. They definitely didn't make it.
Yeah, you're right. Their view quotes was -4. Ouch.
Wow, that's tough.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, and then 100%. I had a hard time justifying ranking them below GK and Dignitas because they won the head to heads. I went back and forth because it is their first time. But I don't know. Some of them was inspiring. I could see them continuing to do this, and the fact that it's it's not like Geek and Dignitas did anything in terms of quality wins that like didn't impress me. I think another part in favor of 100%, not to sound like a total like SEC mouthpiece, but like the quality loss to Carmine Core, they lost 2-3 against them
in 5. Yeah.
Like they challenged them.
Were they up in game? Were they were 2-1? Were they at 2-1 up? Yeah, they were 2-1 up.
Wow.
They were 2-1 up in the series, and the whole of the live chat was like, or not live chat, the Reddit thread was like, Carmine Corp is going to the lowers. Carmine Corp is going to the lowers, and obviously they didn't go to the lowers. But yeah, that's impressive. You know, it does kind of end up being that same situation where when you're up against the big team and you're on that final game, you got to win, and it's really hard to do it.
Yeah. But looking at Carmine's run, actually, in hindsight, they're the only team to take them to match point all weekend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like there are some 3-1s in here. There are some. I mean, no one even took them to game 6 when it came to a best of 7. 100% is the only one to actually have Carmine like on the ropes so far this season.
Mm-hmm.
So that's definitely part of why I have a lot more faith in them instead of Geek and Dignitas. Even if it is a one-off thing, it's overreaction weekend. Let me overreact, you know?
Yeah. Okay.
So,
yeah.
They're at 14. We'll see if they can keep this up, but don't be surprised if they drop right back down to like 19th or 20th after not doing as well next week.
Okay. I'm glad that you don't have 100% at like 11, and I would have had them
absolutely
8 or 6, 7 spots below you. That would have been weird, but we've been pretty close on everything.
Yeah.
None of ours have been, I'm looking, like, you know, within 2 to 3 for most of our picks, so that's good.
All right. 13.
What do I have here? Oh.
There we go. First match.
Amazing.
Wildcard Gaming, both of us moving them up 1. That makes a lot of sense with who's below and then who we presume is going to be above.
If you give me Wildcard versus Dignitas 100% or Geek on LAN, I got Wildcard, baby.
I'm taking Wildcard. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, this team, they beat Oxygen. They beat Gen G.
Yeah.
Granted, that was like the worst Gen G of all time, but
that's still a win.
Yeah. And I guess, I mean, this is my first time being on here, so I want to get some thoughts out about Wildcard. I was so confused about what they were doing with their roster moves.
Yeah.
They were letting go, and then suddenly they're all back together, and they even got their coach back.
Yeah.
So like, what was the point of all of that?
I think if I had to guess, I don't have confirmation on this. There is a OCE YouTuber, Money OCE, who did like a breakdown of what happened during the offseason. Getting his insight was really interesting because I know he casts down there. I'm pretty sure he said that Banana Head left on his own. So it wasn't like Fever and Tortoise were kicking Banana Head because, I mean, in my opinion, it wouldn't make sense for them.
That would be silly.
But I believe it was Banana Head looking to move on, probably level up on the LAN aspect of things. And truthfully, if you're looking for high ceiling players, Fiber and Hunter, they definitely fit that bill. I can see, I mean, I've seen Hunter's talent when he played for the Pioneers. He had a some great performances against SSG in one of those series. I'm blanking on exactly when it was. I think it was Worlds 23. I could be very wrong about that. Yeah, it would have been Worlds 23 in the wild card stage.
Yeah.
Right? Wild card stage? I'm blanking on words because now there's a wild card.
I can go take a look. You keep talking.
But and then Fiber, as we saw last Worlds, completely popped off, despite the fact that he was benched for the 6th event.
They lost 1-4, but yeah. I mean, it could have been a good series. I didn't watch it.
No, it wasn't a great series, but it's like at least you could see the talent that Hunter had.
Okay, sure.
And so if you're looking for high ceiling players like Fiber, Hunter, they definitely fit that bill. And so I think there's a chance Banana Head was like, I'm going to take a risk and see what this looks like. Mm-hmm. And then because of that, Fever, Tortoise pick up Gus. Things don't go well during the offseason for either party, actually, because Gus, Fever, Tortoise go to FIFA E, they do about as expected, and then don't do well in OCE off-season tournaments. Same with Banana Head, Hunter, and Fiber. And so I think by the end of it, they were just like, what are we doing? We're all getting worse results. Let's just rejoin and take right back over. And so they did. I know Jimmo was looking for coaching opportunities out and about, like around the world. I think he should have gotten grabbed by someone, and I think if there were more organizations involved with the scene, he would have. I would have loved to have seen him land with a team like 9 Lives or a team like Omelet or someone who's in that, like, trying to get into the LAN spots for NA, because I think he is a good coach and could work wonders with them. but you can't do that without a paycheck. So
Yeah.
Wildcard's offering some money. You go back with the old team and try to reach that 9th through 11th in Swiss.
Yeah, I really like the power branding.
Yeah.
Unrelated really to their like scale or anything, but I don't know. I think they had a cool decal. I think they had a cool logo. It's kind of Wildcard's okay, but
yeah,
and I've always just been confused. OCE talent consolidation is just so weird. The story that you explained, the secondhand story, I guess, was good. Was like, you can understand from each perspective why it makes sense, but I'm just sitting here for the 3rd season in a row screaming, can we get Fever, Banana Head, and like, I don't know, Fiber? I think that could be the closest to top 8 that OCE has ever had. I'm sorry, Torsos, like, you seem like a cool guy. He's had, I think, with this regional, he's now won something for 8 years in a row, which is like really cool.
Insane.
But he's old. He's KBM. Like, he's not mechie yet. Like, not even close to mechanical.
Yeah. Somehow he's just still there though. Like, he's still there. He's still not performing terribly. Like,
I mean, they won. Yeah. At the end of the day, you still won. So I'm not going to move them down. And the EU teams that I had above them, I'm not going to say like had a miserable weekend, but did underperform.
Exactly.
So I would have, if Dignitas had beat 100%, I would have left them above wildcard.
Yeah.
I
think if any of these 3 teams from Europe that we have below them had any kind of quality performance on their resume, like outside of beating each other, right? If one of them had like taken Ninja Pajamas to the brink, I know I say this with 100% taking Carmine Corp to the brink. It's one series. But it's like, if any of them had actually like taken a quality win in the bracket, even if they went out where they did, it's like, then it's a different story. But it's like they didn't beat anyone. And they didn't even really look close to beating anyone. So,
right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know, wildcard is, I guess the wildcard roster is perpetually 2 and 3. They're probably going to show up and 2 and 3 again.
Exactly.
And then, be somewhere around 13th true ranking, but EU can't send more than 4, so they will get 9th to 11th. So
I get that perspective, but we also only have 4 Europe teams. So it's like there's only 4 Europe teams ranked above these guys. I assume you don't have just a surprise Europe team.
Right. Yeah.
Them. And
right.
So, I mean, I think it's going to be harder to go 2 and 3 in Swiss with some of the other teams that we're going to see coming up. But
that's true.
Let's get into that with number 12.
Yep, this is a big one for me here. This is a huge one for me here.
Space Station Gaming Complexity.
Yeah. I guess I'll start. So like I've mentioned multiple times today, I don't want to be too reactionary and too jumping the gun. I see a lot of people saying Space Station Gaming is the 7th best team in the world. Space Station Gaming is not the 7th best team in the world, man. I'm sorry. I respect your team very much. They had the best weekend I think you could have possibly hoped for. Like, in fairy tale land, they win that in game 5, right?
Aside from closing it out.
NRG is like really cold, and I'm sure that their hands were shaking in that game 7.
You could tell by game 6 that the nerves were getting there. Yeah.
Yep. And that timeout call was too late, I think.
Yeah, I mean
I think they should have called it after game 5.
They did. Actually.
I think they should have called it after 5. No, didn't they after 6?
No, they called it after 5.
Oh, okay. Never mind then.
But yeah, I'll talk about that as well later.
Yeah, I was really impressed by their second place, but like I said, like I've been saying, show it to me again. Give me a top 4 next regional, and I will happily move you above whoever it is that you beat in that top 4. But I have them 4th in NA. Nine Lives is a distant 5th, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
Even though that series was close for Nine Lives versus
it was one
deleted
goal games, but yeah.
Like Nine Lives could have was very close to not making even top 6, but they did, and so Space Station Gaming gets to be 4th, and I'm ready to give them more points. I'm just not gonna yet.
Yeah. Complexity, I've got them at 12.
Wow, Complexity. Okay, this might be the biggest gap that we're gonna have between the two of us. I have my list. Yeah, that's a lot of spaces.
Okay. Part of this is probably biased because I'm gonna be so real. I don't want Complexity to be at land for us. Not because I don't think they're good. They are like appropriately rated one of the top 4 teams in North America by a solid margin. You can see the gap I have in between Complexity and Nine Lives on my rankings. I know that they are,
they're
in current form,
clear.
one of the best 4.
You have them 4th, yeah?
Yeah, I have them 4th.
Okay.
I did not lose.
So how are they going to not make it to LAN then?
A miracle by 9 lives. I'm gonna be real.
Okay.
It's gonna take. I mean, they're already in the points ranking spot. It's just they got to pull.
I respect the hopium. I respect it.
Yeah. I just let's go back who they faced. Complexity.
Complexity
7-1.
Yeah.
They beat 9 lives. They beat Ultimates, which I think this is definitely the biggest win on their record.
Yes.
I think
they got lucky, very lucky to draw deleted there.
Yeah. They really did.
But at the end of the day, it was deleted or omelet.
It was deleted.
So they would have been lucky either way.
That's true. Or it could have been Space Station if we choked that series against deleted, but then we're having more different conversations.
Sure.
Best of 5 wins against 2 of the top. I mean, Ultimates technically didn't make top 4, but like a best of 5 win against Ultimates in a season.
We all have them in top 4 still. They're not gonna suddenly drop from 2nd to 8th.
Yeah.
Just because they were 6th.
Are you okay if I unveil 11? Because it does kind of play into my talking.
Is this important?
Yeah, it is important because I have Space Station Gaming at 11.
Okay.
So I'll continue.
That makes me happy to see that you didn't have them like 7th. Yeah, I was ready to see them at 7th.
I'll get to the community in a second.
Okay.
Space Station, I have just above Complexity, and I think it comes down to a strength of schedule argument. There were a lot of people saying the Complexity looked like one of the best teams. Like, we're probably 2nd above Ultimates. But the way I see it really is that they beat Ultimates in a seeding match in a best of 5, right? And after that, they got annihilated by NRG in a sweep. Yeah. And as much as I don't want to like make a habit of nitpicking, like, oh, this team lost 3-4 instead of 0-4. I think I think the Space Station and Complexity both have wins over Ultimates. Yes, Complexity beat them 3-1 as opposed to 4-3. Space Station beat NRG and then lost 3-4. Technically, if you look at the game record that Space Station have against NRG, they're winning because they won 3-1 against them in the group. I think Space Station has more quality wins on the record than Complexity, and that's why I have them above.
Right. I mean, I totally understand that logic. I have Complexity. Actually, I'm not going to spoil where they, how far up they are. But I really respect that duo, Razebull and CRR, and I've been saying that Diaz is next up for a year, and now he's, everyone was like, I think it was too overreaction about how bad their split was in Sam last year.
I'm eating my words.
It wasn't bad. It was bad, but it wasn't like miserable. Eighth place. They got 8th place. They got 8th place twice, right?
Yeah.
Which is like, but whatever. I don't mind it anymore.
They've atoned for
pretty
that.
Clear. They're clear in the top 4, right?
Yeah. I know. I said this on the preseason. That like Complexity, I was ready to beat the drum of like 5th Sam, but that's looking like more of the anomaly. If you do look at it more in depth, I forget who they lost. They lost to Secret in Event 4, who went on to go to the finals. Lost to Ninja Pajamas, who won the event, and then lost to Hero Base. That's definitely a fluke. But
Hero Base is okay, but it's like one best of 7, and we're gonna suddenly decide that this team is like terrible because of that. No, that's disrespectful too. What Razebull and CRR have done on how many lands have they been to and done like
multiple
respectively?
Yeah, and then CRR
Copenhagen, Worlds 23, played Carmine Corp to 7, top 4 at Winter, top 8 at Spring. You like come on guys. I don't know. I like Complexity. I guess I'll talk about Secret. I have them +0 because they did exactly what we were thinking.
Okay.
They didn't do so. The teams above them either were way above them and dropped a little, or did something this weekend that gave them an edge. You'll see the next 2 where I'm talking about where it'll be like, oh, okay, that it makes sense. But Secret lost to Furia, and it was 7, and I do respect that it was 7, but a win is a win, you know.
Win is a win. Yeah.
A win is it's hard to it's really hard to find a balance in Rocket League between a win is a win and well game 7, so they basically are the same or equal. Like you gotta have you have to have winning meaning something, but it can't mean everything. So it's just hard to say. And top 10 is really stacked. I don't think that they would make top 8 of the LAN. Swift is insane. I think that's not news. I'm not the first person to say that.
That's news
like,
to some people, but that's not news to the ball knowers. Yeah.
Yep. So Secret gets to stay here. It's lower than I would have liked, but I'm looking at the teams above them, and I'm like, I don't know. So I guess you have Secret above Space Station and Complexity, which is
I do. Yeah.
Fair.
I'll get into my takes on Secret when I pull them up.
Sure.
But I said I would address Space Station and the community reaction to this. And I know there's a solid chance that the players are going to watch this because apparently they watched the one with Myth and I.
Oops. Yo, guys. My bad, bro. 12th, like, that's on me, bro.
Yeah.
Don't shoot.
Don't shoot. 7th? Guys, 7th? All right.
7th is crazy.
Listen.
7th is crazy work.
I love this team. I got high hopes for them. I think they could be 7th by the end of this split. Like, don't get me wrong. But
if you give me what Moist Esports or Liquid did, which I know is a really high bar to clear, but if you give me a top 4 really close play Ultimates or NRG close in a semi, and then I don't know, a top 4 / a top 2 in that last event, I'm happy to give you top 8.
Yeah.
But you've done it once out of 3. There's 3 events for a reason. If LAN was just the 4 best teams after one regional, then like obviously it would there's a reason we have 3 regionals, guys.
Yeah.
That's basically the point.
It's overreaction week, right? We've moved Space Station up a decent amount, but let's not overreact so much.
We both moved them up 6.
That they're in 7. You know, Johnny Boy and T-Bates sound like they both have them at 10. Like that's just one spot above where I've got them. I can respect that.
10 is reasonable. 10 is reasonable.
Exactly.
7 is crazy.
7's a bit much.
The top 8 for me is pretty set in stone.
I'm curious to see if I ruin that. Okay. I probably will, but we'll see.
Did you have a new team? Because mine is the same. Actually, it's one team moved.
Yeah, we might have some difference in the top 8. Probably not in the top 7.
Okay.
Though.
Okay.
But yeah, do it again. Once we see that it's more consistent, happy to move you guys up. This is a great start.
If they put up an 8th in this next regional, like
it's like
they're gonna go down.
Exactly.
You know? If they're leaving the door open for someone, if they're leaving the door open for 9 lives to steal that 4th spot, then I'm not.
Please don't leave the door open, guys.
Close it. Job's not finished.
Yeah, exactly.
Job's not finished.
Yeah. Now that I'm done addressing the community, I got to address Myth, and I don't want to be too harsh because I know he's not here to defend himself. I'm seeing the take where it's like, yes, you got to do it again. You got to do it again, right? And I've seen this take a couple times, not just from Myth, but it's like, oh, but they did this last split. You know, you go back to April of 2024, they got top 4, and then they disappeared for the rest of the split.
That was such a different run.
That is such a different run. You've got...
First of all,
go ahead.
It was... You beat Ultimates and NRG, and, I mean, does deleted count? I don't know.
Death.
But, and 9 lives. Like, 3 out of the top 5 teams.
Yeah, that's
NA,
true.
you took them all down at least once. As opposed to, I think they in Swiss beat Genji and that was it, right?
They beat Genji and then they beat like
and they beat
TSM
Cloud9
and someone terrible.
Let me look.
It
was TSM or Cloud9?
It was TSM and Swiss and then Cloud9 in the quarterfinal.
Yep, there you go.
And
that's like and then neither of those teams proceeded to do anything. But the thing is that this space, I mean, they've, you beat NRG. That's like, you beat NRG in a main event, non-Swiss.
I don't think this is spoilers to say that, well, it might be spoilers for you. I don't know where you've got everyone ranked. But like Ultimates and NRG, at least before the season, were power ranked 1 and 2 in North America.
Mm-hmm.
And you now have wins over both of them. You were up 3-1 in a final against NRG. Yes, you lost it. You lost it in 7. But it's like, this is a much more legit showing than, we got an easy path to 2-0 in Swiss and then happened to upset Genji to give ourselves a good seed where we faced Cloud9 and then made a semifinal.
Right.
Massive difference. So all the people saying that it's like, they're going to disappear. like they did last time, like they're not going to disappear. And
No.
I'm not sure that like I know I've addressed Smith at the start of this, but
definitely the real deal, but they're not the 7th best team in the world.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it. So I'm not expecting the same disappearing level that we saw from them last time. And I don't even know if like disappearing is fair.
But
like they were still
also,
9
NA like always does this. You could probably fill up an entire wall with teams that have done top 4 in NA once and then like went away.
Yeah.
Like TSM,
Ghost
Old
Gaming,
Snowman, Ghost, Dignitas in that first regional. I think Shopify did it once.
Shopify
like there were so many teams that just like show up. Old V1 with Torment Gimmick and Calm just showed up for a top 4 and then left. Like Xset, I think did that. Like there are so many teams that have done that, but the teams that make finals is like
that's a different level.
Basically, it's a different level, and you did only beat 9 lives, which is objectively was by far the weakest of the teams in the top 4. But
yeah,
you made a finals. Finals is like you've differentiated yourself so much. Like
I think
who's the only team? V1 and FaZe are the only 2 teams to have made finals in NA that didn't make LAN.
Rebellion in the last event of
that was so
year.
sad. Oh, I remember that. Yeah, you're right. That was tragic.
But like at the end of the day, they were still a game 7 overtime away from making
it.
Right.
And Rebellion in that second split was the real deal.
Yeah. They were much more improved that split.
Right.
But yeah, if you make finals, that's not just one good result. Because like at the end of the day, you can go back to that Snowman Open Qualifier 4 run and say they had one good series. I mean, they had multiple good series, but like they had one good quality result by beating Gen G. The rest of that is like not the best teams. But if you make the finals, like you have to have multiple good results. Yes, Shopify's run was a little bit mickey in the playoffs. They took down Space Station and the Swiss. Like that's a solid run. I can't remember if they took down anyone else, but they at least got that win over Space Station, which was a good team, a top 8 team in the world at that point. So yeah, you make finals, it's different. We're not going to pull a Ghost Gaming. I've got confidence they're not going to do that.
I believe,
but can't be moving them to 7th of the world. That's jumping the gun a bit. So
this team dropped a game to Alpha Cap in Swiss, so
I want to forget that.
Just let that be remembered.
I want to forget that. Dude, that was a close series. It was a game 3 overtime as well. I was sweating bullets.
I was there. Yep,
I was
in your
sweating
chat.
Bullets, man.
I was in the chat spamming Alpha Cap might be back.
Yeah.
And Alpha Cap W. So
that was brutal. All right.
Yeah.
We've talked about SSG for a bit. So let's go to number 10.
but they were the story of the weekend, so I think it's fair.
Yeah.
Oh, we did it again.
Another double up. Twisted Minds. All right.
So my point about this was Twisted Minds did something that Secret didn't. Twisted Minds beat Falcons. And it was in the silly seeding match that doesn't really matter, and then they didn't win the finals. But I also think that Falcons is better than Furia. So therefore, if Twisted Minds can A, beat Falcons, and B, play them again close in finals, I think having Secret above them would be unfair to Twisted Minds. And and as much as I really, really disrespect, I don't like any of this roster, really. Like, I don't like the transfer. I don't like the EUT Mina, and I'm not into well, Nupo has the whole thing, right?
Yes, he does have a whole thing.
But they are. I think 10th. I mean, we clearly
we've got them both 10th.
I'm sure there isn't that much to say. I didn't watch much Mina. I really did. Mina and OCE were the regions that I was just watching clips for. I watched Sam for sure. I watched all of NA, and I watched all of EU. So
yeah. In hindsight, I think if I can
go back... I didn't watch any APAC, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, APAC. I saw the final.
And I guess SSA doesn't get mentioned.
I saw the Luminosity pull it off against Elevate. I was happy to see that. But I think you had a good point that actually, like, with hindsight, I'm going to stand my ground on this because I've already, like, locked it in. It's already solid. But I can definitely see the argument where it's like Falcons is better than Furia. And if you take that, like, right now, Falcons has 1 game differential above Twisted Minds because Twisted Minds beat them once. 3-2, and then Falcons won 4-2. So, Falcons have that 1 game in hand.
Super respectable
over Twisted Minds, yes. And so I think with that logic, I definitely see the path where they're above Team Secret. I've got him 10th because
Oh, right. You don't have Team Secret yet. Yeah.
I don't have Team Secret yet. But
you were really into that 4-3 in the finals, huh?
Yeah, I was really into it.
Okay.
Okay. And I've been listening to Myth propaganda apparently, but because I'm sure he's gonna have Secret pretty high as well.
He had Secret at 7th in the pre, and that
was insane. But
or maybe it was 8th. I don't know. I'll look.
It was very high. It might have been 7th. But if you,
it was 9th. Furia 8th, Secret 9th.
Okay.
So like I don't know. I mean, I have them 11th. That's not that far from 9th.
It's not.
And they didn't do anything new to me, in my opinion. So.
Yep. Twisted Minds, I actually think they had a very solid weekend. They didn't drop games. I think they ended up dropping to Alcadzia by the end of it, but like their run started undefeated until they faced Falcons. Like I'm talking individual games as well. This sheet only covers like Swiss results.
Yeah, they were 9-0 in Swiss.
I looked back.
6-0 in Group A.
Yeah.
Beat Falcons.
Yep.
4-0 against Team X. Nice.
Yeah. And then
2 to Kedsia. I don't know how to pronounce the name.
Alcadzia, I believe.
Sure. Them.
Yeah.
But 2 games, it's chill.
Yeah.
They were up in the series 2-1, but then they just cleaned it up at the end there.
Yeah.
So
but they didn't drop a single game up until the point where they faced Falcons, and at that point, like, fair. They beat Falcons, which is very impressive.
Huge.
4-0. They did end up dropping games to what everyone believes is going to be Mina 3, and then lost to Falcons. In hindsight, I should probably have this team one higher, but I've made my bed. I'll sit in it.
So you have Secret at 9 then?
I have, let's unveil 9 because there's no way I don't have Secret at 9. All right. Secret.
I need to go grab my phone for this. I need to explain something.
Okay.
Because I think there are a lot of people that put ultimates outside of top 10 off of this one regional, and I need to have this photo go up on YouTube.
Okay. I'll explain Team Secret.
You can talk
quickly. I got a lot of respect for Swift. I think he's the, okay, hold on. There was something about like esports awards where it's like breakout player of the year. For some reason last year, both Daniel and Swift were up for the award.
Yeah, Daniel was on that. I saw that.
That is
was really
insane.
funny.
I'm sorry. There's no way it's Swift's breakout year and the same time Daniel's breakout year. Like, say what you will, but like
Daniel's breakout year was 4 years ago, bro.
That was wild. I thought Swift was a great shot for that award. It's a bummer we didn't get to see him at LAN last year. I'm glad that we're probably going to get to see him this year. Myth was saying this is a team that could really challenge Furia. It was a Game 7 overtime. Secret took care of business in basically every single other series very cleanly. I'm excited to see how this continues, but I'm liking the Secret squad and hoping they continue challenging Furia, and we'll see them at LAN. So
yeah,
go for it. Ultimates.
So here's the photo that needs to be shown for context of my claim to being the #1 First Killer fan. I don't know how to get it to
the lighting. Send it to me and I'll edit it in.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
So that is me at the 2022 World Championship holding my maybe 3-foot wide FaZe Clan sign, and I got First Killer to sign my controller. So if you tell that kid that he should be putting First Killer's team outside of top 10, he's probably gonna hit you. He's gonna be bad. So as a service to myself, I think I couldn't have had them. I don't think that they're this. I mean, I think it's fair to have them. If I had Complexity and Ultimates close, and Complexity won, and did better generally, and then got stopped by Energy, but that's okay, because Energy is inevitable when they're on their way to finals.
They're inevitable. I would know.
I really wanted to have this team. I had them 5th last time, -4, but that was not a true ranking based on their skill. I think that was 3 points extra based on my heart. I think they were 8th.
Okay.
And I think they've moved down, but not much because I still believe. I think that the bounce back is on its way. We're gonna make LAN, and it's gonna go great. But
let's see. If you look at North America, the ultimate.
It is really unfortunate. Yeah, I mean, we lost to the 3 teams that are also in LAN contention. So not terrible. We didn't have any good wins. You could argue we're kind of just like what Dignitas did.
That's actually very fair. Yeah. But I also think there was
choked a series in the bracket that you probably should have won, and then lost to the 2 other best teams that made finals. So
Yeah, I think it's very unlucky that they had to end up in the world. I mean, they do a little bit make their own bed by losing to complexity here, but this just causes a chain reaction where they lose to other very solid teams.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Space Station still an upset at this point to consider Space Station beating Ultimates, but then that drops you
Yes.
down to NRG, and that's going to be a very difficult.
That game
series.
7 hurt my heart, man.
Yeah, that
oh
game
man.
we finally got a game 7 in our favor. It was about dark time.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then
SSG versus First Killer's team has always been a classic matchup.
It has.
Didn't think it was going to be classic this time. I thought it was going to be easy, but oops.
The thing I'll talk about when it comes to this is one thing I was really I'm gonna glaze Space Station a little bit.
Sure.
So the one thing I was really impressed with Space Station was the ability to bounce back after a 0-second goal, because normally when you get a devastating 0-second goal, you don't win the series.
That's a good call. That was brutal.
Look at
that
season 7
first
finals.
Killer shot.
Yeah,
was crazy.
Yep. Look
and
at
then
season
they
7 finals.
and then they played like seasoned veterans, you know, like unfazed, cold, like
yep.
You know, doing it out there.
Yeah.
So respect that.
Season 7 finals, G2 versus Falcons in London. Like, you had a good 0-second goal and win the game off that, it changes the entire complexion of the series. And so when we dropped that game 2, it was because we had a chance to go up 2-0 in the series. First girl gets a 0-second goal, they win in overtime, and it's like, I'm sitting here, I'm thinking this is the end of the series, right? This is it. We just lost. This is the difference in between the best teams and the worst teams. And then we claw it back and win it somehow. And I was like, there's no way we actually just clawed that back. Ultimates, if they can fix that mentality, because that's exactly what happened to them in game 4. They have a chance to go up 3-1 in the series. They drop the 0-second goal to Daniel.
Yep.
NRG wins it in overtime. And from there, they just lose out, right? And instead of being up 3-1, now you've lost a series 4-2. So if you can clean that up, either get rid of the 0-second opportunity and don't let them score that, or figure out how to bounce back when that adversity hits, you're going to be fine. Because you were in control of that series up until that exact moment.
I agree. Yeah,
but
watching that was great. Yeah. This is a great time for you. I guess you can, unless you have ultimates at 8, you can talk about. This is your time to talk about your boy Sad Jr.
Yeah, Sad Jr.
I think you might be his biggest fan. So
okay, there was someone in the chat during the watch party that was not believing in this roster.
I was there.
Yeah, you were there. I'm sure you probably hold very similar opinions to me on this. I think Chronic gets overhated. I'm gonna be honest.
I agree.
I think
everyone's like he did nothing, but first of all, it's hard to do that with the 2 players on your team, and also like it's not like he was like just driving in circles in the back. Like
exactly, yeah.
He's still playing and doing things and scoring.
I think
it's just really hard to. I don't know. It's not like you're never gonna want to be the guy that's pushing First Killer off the ball, right?
Exactly. So. Look at how the Space Station team, like, there were so many arguments last year with Space Station, how they were the 3rd best team in North America during the Copenhagen split, and they just got bracketed. But if you look at the gameplay in between how they played in the first split and how they played in the second split, it's like they were always the 3rd best team, but that first split, they were much closer to 4, and that second split, they were much closer to 2. And that's disregarding the Gen G fall off or, you know, any of that. It's like they genuinely improved between the splits. And so there's definitely some trust to be put in Sad Jr. to be able to build that team. I think Chronic is actually the perfect kind of player that I'd love to see in Sad Jr.'s system with him building Chronic up, because we've seen what Sad Jr. can do with LJ over the course of several different teams at this point. I would trust the system. I would trust that this team has a much higher chance of improving rather than disimproving. I know you are like a number 1 First Killer fan. I thought that he had some questionable moments this weekend.
I agree. It really does hurt my heart to say it, but I think I said it in your chat. I think I said First Killer might have sold that game.
Yeah, he was having some
game
moments.
4. The game 4 with NRG, I think multiple games in the SSG series, I was like, like, why are you pre-jumping there? God, it really hurts me. Yeah, it really hurts me to be critical of my boy, but I don't know. It's but none of this is like unsavable.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah. And I think
and 6th is again like, you know, 1 spot on the outside looking in, and it's gonna take 9 lives holding their top 4 to keep ultimates out, I think.
Yeah, and that's gonna be
because energy's a lock. Energy's a lock.
Yep.
I think, in my opinion, complexity is a lock.
Yeah.
And then SSG needs to show me it again. and Ultimates will bounce back, and then that'll be that's the next two regionals. I just leaked the whole script. Sorry.
That's definitely the prediction from just about everyone, that we'll see those 4 teams from North America, and with good reason as well. I don't think Ultimates are completely going to fall off here. I also hope that First Killer can find his footing under Sad Junior system, because I have a lot of respect for someone who can come in after we lose Daniel, assume the role of coach, and Chrome. I have a lot of respect for Chrome as well. So when we lost
for this
Daniel,
guy to talk about NA first seed.
Yep. After losing, we lost Daniel, we lost Chrome. I thought losing Chrome was going to be more of an issue than losing Daniel at the time, but Sad Junior blew me away. Was able to take that team to North America 1 seed. We went to Boston. Yeah. But I got a lot of respect for him. Give him time. This team isn't going anywhere. I'd have complete faith in this team. So
it's really funny that you have Ultimates higher than I do, and I have 9 lives higher than you do.
Yeah, that is actually true. I think it's the
but I think I can tell you have Ultimates coming up soon-ish.
Let's find out, shall we? Number 8, Ultimates.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, there wasn't much I was going to do aside from that. Gentlemates at number 8. I am actually getting pretty surprised here.
Yeah, I was okay. I spent the entire offseason tooting the horn. I said, I believe in Seiko to build a team. If he picked Juicy and Radosin over Oski and Itachi, then let's let him see what he could do.
Yeah.
I believe I said the whole time, I was like, Gentlemates is EU3. I think they're going to be the 5th best team in the world, and they are now EU4, which is okay, I guess. They should have, in an alternate reality with different seeding, they're top 4.
Yeah.
Right.
Definitely. I think they get unlucky that Vitality and Ninja Pajamas have to run into each other to drop one of them to the lowers, which involved Ninjas and Pajamas coming back to win. If you look at Gentlemates,
it was the game 7 1 goal, which I know that I'm flip flopping a little bit between a win is a win and game 7. It's hard. Okay.
Yeah.
But if you're playing Nip close and Nip is for sure number 3, then you're probably number 4, right? So that's my vision. Seiko still looks great.
Mm-hmm.
Seiko always looks great, in my opinion. I don't know if he's ever had a bad event, really. Like
they're few and far between.
Spring major, right?
That's true. Can't ignore London.
Juicy was okay.
Mm-hmm.
He was about how I expected, and Radosin wasn't bad. Yeah. So many people it hurts me when so many people are slandering this team, and they're like, why? They're downgrading. They shouldn't have let go of Itachi. They shouldn't have kicked them. Radosin is terrible. Guys, Radosin is not terrible, guys. Come on.
Yeah, I think a lot of people forget that, yes, there was the whole perspective of Zen's 1v3 on Vitality, but it was very clear that Radosin was the second best on that team. And, it wasn't an unsalvageable situation.
Their Worlds run and the Spring Major run, I would have said it was Alpha 54.
Yeah. The second best player?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I don't have that opinion for Worlds. I thought at least Worlds 24, Radosin was the second best player.
Oh, Worlds 24 but Worlds 24 doesn't matter.
Okay. No, when they were winning, it was Alpha 54.
I'm talking about Worlds 23.
Yeah, when they were winning, it was 54 for sure.
Okay. Yeah, Alpha was. I think Myth put it best. He said, I read something he said today. He said, Alpha 54 was shocking. Alpha 54 was shocking.
Yeah.
That's that was really, really an unfortunate Worlds.
Yep.
But he's now unfortunately in contract. I mean, I hate the word contract jail because you're making money off of doing nothing.
I believe
he's free to live his life now.
Yeah, I'll clarify.
He's had a good career. He got a Worlds win, a major win, a pile of regionals. He played with KDOP.
Yeah,
I think did he win any other third party lands?
I don't know if he did. I don't know if he
TSM or with FCB.
No. He was close, but not winning.
Yeah, yeah.
But I will add for Alpha 54, I know Vitality's owner came out and said guys, it's not contract jail. I think the situation that's happening is because he's not going to get signed.
He has a buyout because he was signed. Yeah, that's how it works.
But it's not even the fact that there's a buyout. If he wanted to team up and go on regional runs with Nico and Extra, they'd let him go. I'm guessing they would let him go, but it's probably a conscious decision to be like, I'm not going to get signed by another organization. I'm going to stay under the Vitality banner, collect a paycheck for a year, maybe come back in a year like Extra's done. But it wouldn't surprise me if Extra last year was like, hey, I want to go out and, do this. And I know he was shopping around. And if he got another org, he would have gone. But I think because he didn't get an org, he was like, I'm just going to be an assistant coach for BDS and still collect this paycheck. And then I'll come back to playing in the next year. I'm guessing it's a very similar situation with Alpha 54. Like, you don't leave when you're in this contract, you don't leave with the state of where the esport is right now and be like, yeah, I'm not going to get paid, and then I'll maybe get a couple good regional results here. It's like it makes sense for Alpha to be where he is. So I don't think it's a contract jail.
You're with Vitality.
Exactly.
That's like the place to be right now. You know, that's like the French org. You've got backing. They're cool. I didn't see him on camera at all. I don't know if he was around at their facility this weekend.
I have no idea, honestly.
Or anything, but I don't know. Anyway, back to Gentlemates. They're fourth, and I really wanted to keep them above NIP, but they lost. So there you go. I know when to concede when I'm wrong, and I was wrong. So
I will touch on Gentlemates in terms of they have a very similar pattern to what we see with Ultimates, where Ultimates started out. Actually, it's basically the exact same. They started out 5-3, winning all 3 of their Swiss games, winning the first 2 in groups, and then losing out from there. We can see Gentlemates does the exact same thing, where they lose the seeding match, and then one of these is wrong. They didn't play K-Corp twice in a row.
Yeah, I was going to say. They played Vitality. That 4-1 is Vitality.
Thank you. I'm on the wrong account. I can't edit that.
It's okay.
But so this is Vitality, and then I think the big difference, because Dignitas also does this 5-3 pattern. The difference between a team like Gentlemates and Dignitas here is that this is a quality win. GK, still a top 6 team in Europe, or maybe top 7 power rated if we include 100% in that top 7. And then this is a 3-4 loss to Ninjas instead of 100%. So
right, and like I said, Rocket League doesn't change that much. We're still counting this as 2/3 of a roster that was top 8 at Worlds. So
exactly,
got to beat that drum again. LAN is important more than anything else, and therefore that's why they're how many spots above Dignitas on my list?
Several.
6. So,
6, yeah.
Right, they both got 6th, but Gentlemates is probably an underperformance. I mean, they're probably both considered underperformances. I don't know. It's interesting. We'll see how EU Regional 2 plays out. I'm interested to see this next one.
That's true.
I mean, major regions are always super interesting in these, like, who's going to be in that last spot.
Exactly.
Kind of thing.
I can't remember if I've touched on Ultimates. I mean, I did when you ranked them, so I'll call it.
Yeah, you talked about Sad Junior, and you talked about First Killer and Chronic and LJ.
Yeah,
you basically got everything. Yeah.
Yep.
That's the whole team. That's the whole story. So
number 7, Gentlemates, and you've got Complexity. So
I do have Complexity.
I want to hear about Complexity.
I touched on it when you brought them up.
Yep.
But they were really close for me as NA3, and now that they took a win and made a top 4, I'm confident to give them NA2 for now. It could be SSG in the future, could be Ultimates in the future, but I think it's fair to have it be them for now. And I don't know. Head to head, like I think they could be Gentlemates. It's possible.
Wow.
It's not like they're probably not favored to win against Gentlemates, but I don't know. Have some faith, right?
Yeah. I mean, you
got to respect the vision a little.
This is our biggest discrepancy in the entire list, I believe.
Yeah, that's what I said. When you had complex, I think 12 is a little low, but I don't know. I mean, you have them as NA4 and I have them as NA2. So
that's true. And if you look at I don't think either of our opinions have changed on Complexity. You started with them a lot higher. Like you raised them 2 in your rankings. I raised them 1 in my rankings. So it's like they did about as expected.
I've always just been a fan of them. So
yeah. So
and their new logo, old logo, it's kind of fire too.
Yeah.
I liked the star. It was cool. I don't know. I'm not sure really where I stand, but both of them are okay. So,
yeah.
And I think the color red is more like complex. In my head, I think the color red works better for them.
Interesting. I feel like I would be more drawn to the logo if I started cheering for them before the whole Dallas Cowboys thing. But I do like that it's separate from the Cowboys because it was very similar to that branding.
Yeah, it
It's
was.
going to take some getting
But
used to.
I don't watch
but I can
football,
see
so
it.
that doesn't really matter to me.
That's fair. Yeah. They're going to do
And
better than the Cowboys. That's
I've always just been on the complexity train. That SSG versus complexity series, that tiebreaker, I was there watching and I was cheering for them. So
I was
that
not
was
cheering
what
for
kind of
them.
started it for me. And I've been with, I guess, only Raiseball now is the only one left.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of sad.
Yep.
But that's kind of how Rocket League works. And Raiseball is still I think
kicking.
top 8 in NA.
Yeah.
It's like pretty clear.
Yep.
And Diaz is, I think, only up. So,
Yep.
I don't know. It's a little bit. It's an opinion pick, but
I think you're
not like
counting on the
horrendous.
Diaz.
I think complexity being 7th in the world is much fairer than Space Station.
Yes, that is true.
Even though you have complexity below Space Station, I think I don't know. There's more tape on them.
I think that's fair. Despite the whole Sam 5, despite the I see them closer to 7th of the world in Space Station. They have had more historical results to back that up. I think a lot of it, at least based on what I'm seeing from your ranking of them, is like belief in Diaz to actually take that next step and level up. And like truthfully, he could have done that this weekend. Like he was part of that squad to take down Ultimates, and like that's a very quality win. Yes, they fell apart against NRG, but again.
But it's NRG, and they weren't going to miss the finals.
Exactly.
Atomic was on a something this weekend.
Dude, Atomic was unplayable this weekend. But yeah, so I'll jump ahead to number 6. I didn't really.
This could be equal for us.
I feel like it's.
I have a feeling it's going to be.
It's not.
Oh, never mind. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I've got Fury.
So
here.
I just flipped Nip and Gentlemates because Gentlemates lost. That's basically it. Nip looked good. They had to play through lowers because they ran into Vitality early because Vitality trolled the Swiss, then they bounced back and they did about how we thought, top 4. So there's not like a ton to say. They got smashed by Carmine Corp, but Carmine Corp was again another unplayable team.
Yeah.
This weekend. So
you had a Ninja Pajamas at 8 to start, which was lower than the rest of us. The rest of us had them at 5.
I had them EU 4, so I was I like I said, I was trusting Seiko's vision, and now that I've been proven wrong, I'm happy to swap them.
Yep. But this is like closer to a course correct based on where we had them. I had Fury at 6. I saw nothing from Fury this weekend that would raise them above Ninja Pajamas for me, so I still have Fury at 6. But I didn't see anything from anyone below Furia to raise them above them as well.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of a holding pattern here. And we'll see how the rest of the events shape up. I'm sure it could change if we see a different result out of South America. Like Secret was very close to changing how this section looks for me. I would not have had Secret above Furia had they won the series, but I probably would have like Gentlemates above them instead. But as of now, like they took care of business. Like you were saying exactly with this team, like a win is a win. Hopefully it's cleaner from them in the future if they want to move up. But I honestly don't think it's going to be. But I can't really move them lower until we see anything different.
Yeah. Furia, I'm assuming Nip is your 5. Furia is my 5.
Yep, let's roll it.
Yeah, we just have it.
Yep.
The little diagonal diamond thing. I don't know. They won, and if Nip had played Carmine closer or something, maybe it could have been flipped the other way. But like at the end, this one is really picking hairs. Like
it is.
They're both just not in the top. They're not in the top 8. Not in the top 4. They're not in the top 4, but they're clearly top 6. So like which one goes where? I don't know. I don't think it matters. Really.
I'm gonna be honest. I will be surprised if anyone has 5 and 6 be anything other than Ninja Pajamas and Furia. I'm not sure what order they're gonna have them in, but like at least when it comes to Myth and Belair's rankings, I feel like
it's really hard to justify anything else because the top 4 is so solid and Ultimates are down.
Yeah, actually, the only one I could see is Ninja Pajamas. Maybe Myth was just low on energy by the end of it and drops.
No way you have NRG at 5. That's disrespectful. After original win?
After their Swiss performance, though, too, I could see that.
That doesn't matter, guys. The Swiss guys. People are always talking about Swiss performance this, Swiss performance that. Vitality lost the forward. Who cares, bro? I don't care.
Yeah.
That's like so far lost in my memory now, and that was only 2 weeks ago.
Speaking of NRG, wow, you don't have energy here.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's disrespectful.
Okay.
They won the regional, man. I don't care about their Swiss loss and their SSG loss. That doesn't matter. They won the regional.
Holding pattern,
So.
right? I mean, all three of these guys, I just didn't move in the rankings at all.
Yeah.
Falcons
I guess,
dropping
zeros. Lots of zeros. Not much happened.
I can see that. Top. I will say this NRG is closer. I was upset by the fact that I had to have NRG 4 last time. I'm not this time. This time I much more see the NRG at 4 angle. Their Swiss was a cause for concern. Yes, they came back and won the regional. They dropped the series to SSG. The warning signs are there. They have every ample opportunity to answer them, and they did answer them last weekend by the end of it, right? But the warning signs are there. This is not as dominant of a start from NRG that we saw last year. And so, are they going to win every single event in North America? Like, it's hard to say that for sure for this, especially with what we saw.
3.
So, okay, I was more thinking
4
the first
is
split.
fair.
I was more thinking for the first split. Which
probably
is
2.
Yeah, I can see them getting 2. But yeah, this is a much closer team to 5 than it is to 3 for me nowadays, which is the complete opposite as it was preseason.
5.
But
NRG could be 5 over under NIP. That's interesting.
I can't. I'm not moving NIP up until they
disrespectul. Okay.
No.
So
okay, listen.
Wait, you finish your talking and then I'll talk.
All right. Yeah. I'm not moving Ninja Pajamas above NRG until Ninja Pajamas actually puts up a fight against the top team. I want to make that clear. Like, when I say NRG is closer to 5 than they are to 3, it's like there's not actually any movement there, right? It's just that NRG feels a slight step behind the other teams that I have top 3 right now. They're
okay.
Ninja Pajamas, like, they got to make a final, possibly even win an event. They can't be getting swept 4-0 before I drop NRG below them. Even if NRG weren't to win an event, like, I got to see some actual competition against the top dogs from NIP.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, that's fair. I guess I was actually tweaking about NRG at 4, but I don't have that much higher, we'll just say.
There's not much room for there to go.
I don't know. Yeah, right. So every single one of my top 4 teams, or 3 out of my top 4 teams, moved down 1 spot because they had 1 blemish, right? Mm-hmm. So NRG had that loss to Space Station. Falcons had that loss to Twisted Minds, and then Vitality. Well, I guess we'll see what the rankings are at the top. But anyway, Falcons were fine. If you have them like 1 or 2, that's going to be still crazy to me. I don't know. The problem is they didn't do anything that bad, and you had them 1 based off of the most recent LAN, which is still the most recent LAN. So you could still logically have them 1, which would
I could
really, really trip me out. But I don't know. They're good. I mean, they're a good team. Like I don't know that there's a ton to say about Falcons. It's really uninteresting because they're just going to keep winning, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be 3 for 3 on this split. And that's not that's a really pretty mild take.
I think that's what I've got as well. Yeah.
Twisted Minds is the closest Mina 2 has been since Rule 1.
That is true.
And
we're talking Rule 1 with the Twins, I assume, because Rule 1 last year was not close.
Yeah. Rawas, Killers, and TRK that's just the trio.
Exactly.
So,
yep.
I don't know. I moved them down 1 for their loss because there had to be room made at the top.
That's valid. Team, so. That's valid. Yeah. Let's roll number 3.
Not super interesting up here.
I feel like I know what this is going to be. Yep, this is NRG for you.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. Man. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
You left Falcons at 1 or 2. I see. Interesting.
I will touch on Vitality first. Lost to Fast Forward, as much as it's like a 1 Swiss loss, and they do make up for it by sweeping Ninja Pajamas later. They didn't look close. They didn't look close against Carmine.
I didn't even factor the Fast Forward loss at all into my thought.
That's fair. That's fair.
That's just so not important to me.
Okay. I definitely I take note of it, right? It's not the end of the world, don't get me wrong, but it's there, and then they're not competitive against Carmine Core at all in the finals. at least when I made these rankings, and I know you do this too, like I tried to block out all the noise from external
Mhm.
community factors before ranking them post-event run, right? You know, T-Base was fast with his list. Johnny Boy responded. Reddit had their opinions. It's like the first thing I did after the event was over, I stopped, I made myself dinner, and then I sat down and did the rankings before checking like any other social media because I didn't really want to get influenced, right? But in terms of what I saw before the event even started, that does probably influence this is the pro power rankings. Unanimous Carmine at number 1. Like there wasn't a single pro
tripped
team
me out. That tripped me out.
that had Vitality above Carmine. And it's like when you see that and then you see the performance for Carmine versus Vitality, that speaks volumes. So
yeah,
there's some
it actually shocked me to see that NRG wasn't unanimous, but Carmine Corp was.
That's actually a good point. I didn't even think
it would have been I think because NRG was 1.25.
Yeah, that means some teams had to have ultimates.
2 or 3. Yeah, someone had ultimates because ultimates was 1.75.
Or even complexity potentially. Like we don't know for sure. We didn't see first place.
Right, sure. Yeah, we can't see them. But yeah, I don't know. I would have thought the most secure team, NRG is the most secure team.
Yeah.
At that number 1.
Actually,
just because I guess it's my turn to talk about NRG now.
Yeah, go for it.
10 finals? 10?
They're
Guys,
rolling.
Come on now.
They're rolling.
That's insane. And Atomic played so good this weekend, guys.
Dude.
So unbelievable.
Atomic
was
great.
I'm not even like a fan of his or anything. He's okay. But like he was unstoppable. And playing in the LJ card too, that was really funny.
That was fun. I was so pissed that I just couldn't tell them apart because there were multiple times in that series where I'm like, nope, that's the wrong darn player. It's like, why did he save that? Oh, because he's actually on that team trying to save that. It was very trippy.
Yep.
But
I don't know. At the end of the day, they still won the regional. I moved them down 1, like I said, to make a space at the top, but my opinion of them is not that changed. You're mentioning like there's cracks, they're doing some bad stuff in Swiss, they're like dropping SSG, but like they won. I don't know.
They faced it.
I'm failing to really care about something like strictly business loss in Swiss, right? Like,
all right, that's fair.
That's just like I mean this. I just don't really care about Swiss very much.
Right.
You make it through and you're good. It does mess up the brackets and make things wonky, but
very wonky.
I don't know. I don't care about Forward beating Vitality at all. I don't care about strictly business beating NRG at all. It's just like they're still number 1 in NA, and it's like, I mean, it was close. This is close, but I don't know. There's not a ton to say. Like I said, this top stuff isn't super interesting, right?
Yeah, that's true.
The meat of this was like 7 to like 13.
I agree.
Or maybe 15 or 16. Yeah. Because
that's where it's the most fun.
5 and 6 is boring.
Yeah.
Top 4 is kind of not going to change.
Top 4, I mean, there hasn't been any movement.
And then like the bottom of the list is just like you could throw a lot of teams into that 20th.
You really could.
That interesting stuff is in the middle.
Yeah.
Until proven otherwise.
For 1 and 2, I like to unveil these at the same time because we're gonna know.
I think. Well, we're not. We guarantee not gonna have the same. You have Falcons. Let me guess.
Go for it.
It's got to be KC1 because they look so unstoppable. Let me see it.
Yeah, I can't. It is Carmine number 1.
Okay, good. All right. Yeah.
So, I'll go ahead.
You first.
Yeah, I'll go ahead because I last week had Falcons number 1 and caught a decent amount of heat for this. But honestly, I was ready to defend it. And if Falcons had gone perfect, I'd be defending it. But I did say last week that if they slip up once, like they're on the thinnest of ice because that region is not deep. You have to be perfect to maintain a number 1 spot in that region. And while they're obviously going to be MENA 1, and I don't think a Twisted Minds regional event would change the fact that I would still have Falcons ranked above Twisted Minds. It's like, if you're going to maintain a number 1 spot in the world, you got to dominate MENA. And you dropped, even if it's a seeding series, you dropped a series to Twisted Minds. It's like, that's the final straw. I can't do it.
Okay.
And it's like, maybe if they...
but that's the final straw, but not enough to let the 2 world champs be above them?
No, because it's not like Vitality did anything super inspiring this weekend either.
Okay. Fair. Sure.
Their best result is, I think, like 3 over Ninjas in Pajamas. Like, their semifinal result is beating 100%. They beat Gentlemates pretty cleanly as well, which, fair. But they didn't put up a fight against Carmine Corps. Carmine Corps was, if we're saying Atomic was unplayable, Carmine Corps was definitely unplayable.
Carmine Corps was,
undefeated in the toughest region in the world. Like, you can't not have them number one, in my opinion. So, yes, I had Falcons number one last week. I was ready to defend it. If they had beaten Twisted Minds and, beat them twice, I'd probably still be trying to defend it. It would be much more difficult because of how good Carmine Corps was. But they made it easy for me to rank them at the number 2. I do still have them above Vitality because of this. But, yeah, Carmine 1, Falcons 2. That's what I got. You go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, if you're starting from the logic of your last list, I see it. But I just was never there. So
all right, yeah.
We're never going to be on the same page about that. And I think I'm where the community is, because we posted these and all the people were saying that they liked my list, and they specifically liked my top 4. They were like, yes, that's the right order. It's Vitality, NRG, Falcons, Carmine Corps.
Yeah, I did see a lot of that.
And I really wanted to keep Vitality at 1. I was sitting there for like 15 minutes, not 15 minutes, like a decent amount of minutes on my own, just sitting at my desk thinking about this. And I was just, I really wanted to do it, but I think it's objectively wrong. Like, it's just like flat out wrong to leave Vitality over Carmine Corp. If it was a 4-3, I would have held it. If it was a 4-2,
that's valid.
I could have thought about it more.
That's valid.
But 4-0, it's brutal.
Yeah.
I think that it's not as bad as people say. Teams have adjusted from worse. Gen G first versus G2 was so brutal, and everyone was like, okay, it's a 1-team region, and then Gen G played it closer the next time and then won the third one. So I was really hoping Vitality would have been the clear number 1 this regional, and I was going to wear my yellow tie, but they didn't do it. So I moved them down 1. I moved everyone down 1. And Carmine Corp, I think it was fair to have them at 4th. I don't really care much about off-season stuff. Flip and Spin is like not in my mind that much.
That's fair.
It's like an event. That's cool.
At Flip and Spin, it's one series. Like, this year it was one series. And like, technically Dignitas even played them closer if you want to go there, but it's like,
doesn't matter to me.
You're not facing Falcons, you're not facing NRG. It's like, you had one series against Vitality and you won it. Congrats.
Yep.
So
yeah. So KC jumped up from their 4th spot, which I think was earned, to their new 1st spot, which is still earned. And I'm eager to watch these two go it again. I think it will flip. Maybe that's cope. Maybe that's hope.
No, I agree. I actually agree with that, because you mentioned like the G2 Gen G situation last year, where G2 was number one, and then Gen G flipped it by the 3rd regional. Like, and the argument with this Vitality squad is that they're built for LAN, and Carmine starts early. Like, it would not surprise me if by the end of this, Vitality is on top of Carmine Corps. Like, when it comes to the LANs, when it comes to the end of the season, right? But if we're ranking them based on this current event and where they are in current form, it's like, it's undeniable. The 4-0 sweep, like, utter dominance. It's Carmine Corps right now. There's every opportunity for Vitality to earn it back, but we can't be projecting our current rankings based on what we think is going to happen. It's based on where it is now. And Carmine number 1.
Yeah.
So
I'm actually pretty happy with these 2 lists. We were not wildly off on any, and none of your picks I was like super offended by. I went a little crazy on NRG, but it was literally 1 spot, and that was kind of just me being weird,
I mean, I see it.
I don't know. 4th after winning an NA, I just feel like it's like gotta be. You care much more about this FIFA E thing than I ever did.
Okay, that's valid.
Like I said, Flip and Spin doesn't matter to me. FIFA E doesn't matter to me. Any of these little things doesn't matter to me. Swiss doesn't matter to me. Like, I'm really, really focused on like 8 series.
Well, see, here's the other thing. And I know that you don't exactly hold this opinion either, but it's like, so much of the community last year was saying that Falcons is the best team in the world until they make it to the finals, right? And I think a lot of their results back this up. Like, if you look at their G2 series in London and Swiss, it's like, that was so one-sided and complete domination. And yes, they dropped to them in the finals, but it's like, if we look at that, they were the best team in the world until that series. And they looked pretty darn good in Copenhagen as well. Yes, they dropped to Gentlemates, but Gentlemates was the best team in the world there. And then they get ground pinched and lose to Carmine, right? At Worlds, Worlds was a bit more of a struggle, in fairness. But if you take the perspective of they're the best team in the world until the finals, and then you look at the fact that they finally breached the gap of winning a finals in FIFA E, it's like that's the logic that gets you to, okay, Falcons, they finally broken that curse and they can be ranked #1.
I can 100% understand your logic. I'm just never going to care about FIFA E.
That's okay.
It just doesn't matter. It's pickup teams. NA sent NA 6.
We said the 19th or 20th best team in the world. Yeah.
Yep. Right. So 19.5 best team in the world, right? So I don't know. Like I just am, and the format.
Oh yeah, I want to hear your thoughts on this.
Isn't already beaten, but the format is just like really uncompetitive.
Interesting. Okay.
It was entertaining and it was cool, but that whole like tie thing was so weird, and like no winning series unless you win 2-0, or I don't know.
I didn't mind it, but it was definitely weird.
Like that result is like, again, tossed out to me. Like I'm looking at Worlds, I'm looking at what happened in GSL, and I'm looking at what happened in playoffs to make my rankings. And you're looking at FIFA E, you're looking at Swiss, and you're like taking more things into account, but I just like don't care. Yeah. Like it just doesn't really matter to me.
I gotta go back here and add the FIFA E rankings into the team series chat. No.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah.
I don't know. I'm happy with this list. I guess we'll turn off soon, and then I'll take a look at Myth's list and go talk to him about that.
Oh yeah, we're not going to
for sure have Carmine Corbett number. I guess this is gonna be unanimous because
I feel like it should
Belair and Myth both had their Carmine Corbett #1, and there'd be no reason for them to move.
They had Belair had Vitality above Carmine Corbett. But I feel like you'll have it flipped. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I really appreciate your time.
Oh, of course.
Thanks for having me on. That was so much fun.
I love doing this.
I'm super looking forward to the pre-major with the 4 of us.
Me too. That'll be hype.
We've already said like that'll be so good.
Yep.
We'll let Myth have like 4 EU teams in the top 6.
Oh,
or whatever.
Gosh, please no. He can't get away with it, right? No, he could get away with it. He definitely could get away with it.
Doable, yeah.
Yep. But yeah.
I guess you have almost one away.
Exactly, yeah. Gentlemates. That's I worry for them. Yeah.
Right.
Hopefully you all enjoyed. Those are the top 20 for post-event 1. I know I've already released the Friday video where we do the aggregate. I'm not sure what that looks like yet, but looking forward to seeing how that reaction. Hopefully you enjoyed us breaking down how each of our lists went. Shout out to CaptainDolphin. Thanks for coming on. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, no problem, man.
Love having you on this project. And yeah, as for YouTube, I will catch you guys in the next one.